Hi everyone. Excuse me. So I thought I'd put together a quick Valentine love card. I've done a lot of the prep work again, just because I was experimenting with some things. So hopefully this will, hopefully you'll be able to see what I've done with it. I'll explain as I go at each bit, so hopefully that'll make some sense. So I've got the cable knit dynamic embossing folder, and this was in the holiday catalogue from Stampin' Up. So if you've got this is a great thing to do. But if you've got anything that looks sort of homey, that's kind of how the look I was kind of going for, then use that. That'll work too. I've also got Sunshine Wishes die set, and from that I've used the heart and the word love. And then I've got 3 inks here. I've got Flirty Flamingo, Cherry Cobbler and Rose Red. So just put those out the way. And these are the pieces that I've got. So I've got a piece of, this is craft cardstock. You could use crumb cake. Stampin' Up crumb cake is, you know, close sort of craft colour. But I just like the naturalness of this, sort of gives it that sort of woodsy kind of thing. So this is 11 by 4. Is this 11 by 4? Can't remember if this is, I'm losing the plot here. 5.5. 11 by, yeah. Sorry. So it's 11 by 4 1/4, folded at 5.5. So this is 4 by 5 1/4. And what I did was, this is a piece of the same cardstock, and I initially inked it up in these 3 inks. So I went from lightest to darkest and basically created an ombre effect. So yeah, that was the idea with the colours. So yeah, lightest to darkest, no, darkest to lightest, no, lightest to darkest. I was trying to think how I'd actually done it. And so I sort of worked from, I'll turn this around, but I actually worked from this side, working across the cardstock. You could, depending whether you're left or right handed, depends on which way you want to be able to work. But I worked from one end to the other. So on this side there's a very pale, you know, pinks and reds, but there's a bit of this colour coming through still, and on this side obviously it's got darker, so it gives you that sort of ombre as we call it. And then when I was done doing the inking bit, which I just used, oh by the way, I just used the Tim Holtz blending tools. I'll just show you what they look like. They look like this, and there's little round sponge pieces that go over the top. There's the rose red one. I just keep them in little baggies with the name of the colour on it. But these sort of just stick to it with the, what's this called? Velcro on the back. And I just used that over the background. Excuse me. And then when I'd finished inking, I then ran it through the embossing folder to give it this sort of, I don't know, it reminds me of, well, it's called cable knit, but it reminds me of like a jumper. Cable knit, jumper type thing. But I thought it had that very homey kind of thing. Bit vintagey maybe? Not sure. Anyway, this piece of lace ribbon is just a piece, like a leftover piece that I've had for a long time, and it's just a creamy colour. I think the sort of colour would work well with this whole craft colour cardstock and that. And then these 2 are the 2 dies that I used from the Sunshine Wishes. But what I did first was, because there are a lot of crafters who are using like I think it's called Stick It, and it's basically like a big piece of that you can cut down of like double-sided tape basically, and they're using it to put cardstock on one side and foam, like fun foam, on the other side of it, and that way when you've run it through to die cut your pieces, you've got the sticky on the back already, right? And the dimension from the foam. But I didn't have any of that, so I suddenly thought, what about using regular foam tape? And so that's what I did. So it doesn't work as well, and I'll show you why in a minute, but I did use my precision plate, and I think that's where I went wrong a little bit with one part of it. So on the dies themselves, they have, I mean, it kind of worked. I mean, this one, I've got the sticky off the back. As long as you butt each piece, you know, as you put each piece on, butt it right up to the next one, you'll be fine. And what I did was I stuck that to a piece of cardstock and then die cut that out before removing the back of the sticky, obviously. So this one and each of these I also inked up before I took them out of the cardstock after I die cut them, so that it was just easier to handle, that's all. And this guy, I took the sticky off the back and it does work. I mean, it's there. It was a little delicate because this is quite, so I can see that I've broken that piece there. But the thing I wanted to show you, and you'll probably see it better on this one, and I will put the card together in a minute, is that these little bumps on it are actually the little holes in the die to help you press your, you know, poke your cardstock out afterwards to help release it. But because I'd used the precision base plate, it embossed that as well. So that wasn't quite the look I was going for, but I think it still works. So let's put this together. It's going to be very, very simple, guys. So I'll leave my card base over here. Let me just put the bone folder. Just want to get this kind of flatter. This has actually been here all week. I just didn't have a very good week, so that's why it's a bit, looks a bit wobbly. So I decided that I think on the side that is the lighter side, I think that was where I was going to put this, if I remember rightly. Yes. So I want to line up the ribbon or the lace so that the heart can sit in the middle and still have the right kind of spacing around it, if that makes sense. So I'm not sticking it to the lace yet, but I'm just lining it up so that I can eyeball, yeah, technical term, of course, tape. I'm just going to eyeball that and then wrap this round so I can tape it to the back like that. And then I've got my nice little tape stuck there. And this, like I say, I've taken the sticky stuff off the back, so hopefully this will actually stick, and I'm just going to stick it in the middle of this. Straight down. It's already got the dimension because of the foam. And this isn't supposed to look like a perfectly symmetrical heart anyway, so if it is a little off, as in I've not stuck it on completely straight, which I don't think I have, it's not actually going to matter. But this is how simple this is going to be. I'm just going to peel off. So the thing with using double-sided foam is that you will have smaller pieces to actually try and get off, so that's the only thing. But for the most part it does come off pretty easy. And then I'm just going to line this up. Just thought I'd stick it. And the nice thing is, because it's foam, you can kind of manipulate it a little before you stick it down. stick it, you know what I mean. Right? Some tape going. Now again, this is embossed and it's quite thick cardstock as well, so you do want lots of adhesive on the back. And I may even put some on here on the front just to help it. Oh, come back. A little trick. A little trick. Ugh. It's stuck to me. And that works. Just want to make sure it's stuck down, because like I say, the not the foam, but the ribbon is going to be a bit bulky on the back. You could stick it straight down and trim it right on the edge, but sometimes I find that the ribbon will fray, so unless you can unless you can, you know, sort the edges out so that it doesn't fray up, then you know, you should be alright. So I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use the middle colour, so I'm going to use Rose Red stamp. We all do that now, don't we? Yes. Yes, we do. So I've got my stamp on the back. Handmade by. And there's the front. Super simple. Told you it would be simple. Yeah. There you go. Really easy. I think it's nice that you can sort of use your dies to sort of think outside the box and just use them in different ways, other than just die cutting papers or card. You know, die cutting them onto like foam and then, you know, inking them, or even if it was pattern paper, you could still ink them to give them like a different look. So there you go, guys. Have a happy day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!